Bitcoin used to be the price used to be correlated with the S&P, or I'm sorry, with the triple Qs and the Nasdaq, because it was kind of viewed as a risk-on asset. And I think we're in the process of seeing that change. I mean, the biggest picture I think is just continual monetary debasement. That's kind of, the book describes this as kind of just baked in the cake. This is Lynn's model, and it's been my model as well. That when you're expanding debt and you're expanding the monetary base more quickly than you're expanding GDP, that's an inflationary thing. And Bitcoin is fixed algorithmically to 21 million coins, so it will not expand as all these other monetary base expand. So in dollar terms, Bitcoin, I'm with Sailor. Bitcoin is going much, much higher. It's going to multiple millions of dollars per coin over the next 10 to 15 years. So um, I'd say but to point to the biggest cause is because the fiat system and the Keynesian model really just kind of requires continued inflation. And there was a time when that was, calmer and people weren't paying attention to it, like the 80s, after we had the gold rush in the 70s, and then Volcker got things under control. And, most people weren't paying attention to sound money during the 80s. But, it's gotten steadily worse, this issue of government spending and debt. And I think now we're kind of at the point where the pot is really on the boil. It's happening very quickly now, and as we all know, we hit a record high price today, 109, and I see us going to 140 or 150 this year pretty easily, and potentially higher. But I'm very comfortable predicting that. I think the trade wars actually kind of feed into all of this. I think all of the economic problems that are bubbling up all over the place, including the Japan bond market, which appears to be kind of in a state of falling apart. I think all of these feed Bitcoin. The Bitcoin used to be the price used to be correlated with the S&P, or I'm sorry, with the triple Qs and the Nasdaq, because it was kind of viewed as a risk-on asset. And I think we're in the process of seeing that change. I think it's now starting to trade more like digital gold. And what's going on is these two assets are really beginning to realize that the government is in a trap, that they just cannot stop printing money to keep the system running. And once that becomes widely known and understood, we'll have kind of what I call and describe in the book as a mass scale Gresham's Law-like event where people want to get out of other assets, particularly bonds, that are denominated in a fiat currency and get into the two currencies that the government can't print, which are gold and Bitcoin. And I prefer Bitcoin to gold because it's got an adoption cycle and it's got so many advantages over gold. But I don't shit on gold. Gold's got merit. It got us all the way to 2008, and it's not going to disappear overnight. It'll still do a job of protecting some of your purchasing power, but Bitcoin's a much better choice.
For the folks at home, what is Gresham's Law?
Oh, sure. So Gresham's Law, Sir Thomas Gresham was a guy who was an advisor to Queen Elizabeth back in the 1500s. And what he said is, and so the issue of monetary debasement, this isn't new, right? This has been around for thousands of years. People have cheated on the money. The Romans clipped coins and sovereigns clipped coins, and everybody, the denarius, which is the Roman form of coin, was started off all silver. By the end, it was all iron. Um, and Gresham's Law says that people can figure out when the money is going bad, i.e., if that kind of debasement is taking place, the average human being will look at the money that they know is losing value, in other words, where prices are going up in that money, and say, and then they'll look at another form of money maybe that's not losing value, let's say an ounce of gold, and the price of something in an ounce of gold won't be moving at all, and they'll say, huh, I get it. This one form of money is losing value, this other form of money is holding value. I'm going to spend the one that's losing value because why wait around for it to lose more value? And I'm going to hold on to the one that holds its value, which is gold. And so the law itself is written down as good money drives or bad money drives out good. And what that means is that if one form, and there are always a couple forms of money going around in any economy, if one form of money is going bad, i.e., being debased, that will cause people to hoard the good money and spend the bad money. So, and at the extreme, like in Weimar Germany in 1921 through 23, they literally, throw out, the bad money and use wheelbarrows with which, because the printing presses were running so hot to purchase things, and they hang on to the good money, which in that time was